Okay, my YouTube friends, today we're going to cover one of the greatest, if not the greatest, weightlifter of all time, and that's Tommy Kono. And a lot of people don't realize he was also quite a bodybuilder. In fact, let's look at these. These are some of the contests that he won back in the 50s and even into early 60s. Several Mr. Universes. And he did stuff like this, the old nail driving, performing strongman kind of thing. Took martial arts. He played some other sports. There he is with the team, America's team. And they were, in the 50s, pretty dominant. And Tommy was a big part of that, of course. Um, Here he's talking about the mental approach. And that was one of his big emphasis all the time. Had to have your head right to do whatever. And this was just finishing up that text line. And here's just talking about how he got started, mostly Hoffman books, articles. He bought a used set. Actually, he was in an internment camp, as many of our Japanese Americans were back in those days. His family was in Sacramento, and when World War II came along, at 12 years old, he went to this internment camp. He was skinny, like not even a 98-pound weakling. He was like a 75-pound weakling. But he ended up, he was talking about his background, how he started lifting. But he ended up hooking up with some guys that were lifting in that internment camp, and that's how he got his start at both bodybuilding and weightlifting. And he really loved it, and he took off from there. 48 was his first Olympic uh, competition lifting, and he didn't do great his first time, but he just kept at it. There he is. He's with Mr. Anderson, and it looks like maybe Ike Berger there on the left. He's getting weighed in, and he went up and down in weight classes quite a bit. You'll see that on the sheet where it's got some of his records and the weight classes he was in. This is some of his training, and there he is with the 109-pound dumbbells. This was like 420 pounds he did for a double on a front squat. Sorry for the picture quality. Um, and here it just talks about his full use of assistance exercises. So if you can find a Tommy Kono bodybuilding routine, please let me know where you found it, because I've looked everywhere I can think to look at all my old magazines online, on the Diddlo blog. It has lots of stuff about his training. And he did do bench presses. He benched like 350, I believe, as like a mid heavyweight. There he is with his family. Beautiful family. Was a good dude. Um, Ended up getting drafted into the army. But of course, at that time, he was already an Olympic caliber lifter. And the Army's like, oh, you're going to lift with us and for us. So he's kind of on the Army team. So he got out of being in any kind of heavy combat. That was the Korean conflict where he was drafted. Um, but anyway, after the internment camp, they got out in 45. That's when he bought his first weight set up his home gym. And he trained at his home gym a whole lot, even while he was training for the Olympics. But and this is off of Wikipedia, so it's probably not super accurate. But there he is. I mean, he's got a heck of a physique. Uh, and there was a documentary I was watching where they were talking about his family and how skinny he was as a kid, and then he developed this crazy V shape after he started working out. Now, Arnold was a big fan of his. Arnold saw him when he was 13 years old, and he made a huge impression on Arnie. There he is in his his army outfit, smiling as always. Just a real nice guy, congenial guy. There he is getting measured, and the guy's probably like, "Oh, geez, how are we gonna find something to fit this dude?" Because you got that V, and he always had that narrow waist, and just always one of the best Olympic lifters out there. Won a bunch of gold medals, won just countless senior nationals and world championships, as many as anybody I could think of. And he did it across. We went from like the 148s up to the 181s. I don't think he competed in the 98s. Another bad picture, but I think that same picture of him doing a front squat with like 420 for a couple. And he's been on a fair number of magazine covers, as many as for bodybuilding, honestly. Here he is with, that's Johnny Turpak in the middle. Looks like Shemansky, the Mighty Atom and his wife on the right there. And just guys that were from York Barbell. He ended up, there he is on the cover with a bodybuilding pose. Great physique, really had low body fat. This is another article that came out of Strength and Health, but QT, as I'll say in the next frame there, is quality training. Again, the two biggest focuses of his career for lifting and bodybuilding was quality training and the mental approach. There he is with it's like a martial arts outfit. He did actually study martial arts a little bit too. And easily won the 1952 Olympic Games at 22. There he is with, this is John Ziegler, who was the doctor who didn't invent but introduced the guys to D-ball back in those days. And I'm sorry to say that at least at some point in Tommy's career, he did admit to using them. But it probably wasn't until at least 59, which is where you saw that was with Ziegler. Ziegler did some other weird things. And York did the isometric training, and then they had some other like electronic stimulation device that Ziegler made, and Tommy wasn't really big on either of those. He did invent though the a waistband and knee bands, and the knee bands were out of necessity because by the late 50s he already was having osteo conditions with his knee, and he really made those for himself. Unfortunately, as often happens, and there he is with the mental approach. He did practice like some Zen meditation kind of stuff, and that was part of his mental approach. And there he is again. Heck of a physique, You can't really. His legs aren't ripped to death, but nobody was really in those days. Sorry about the helicopter. I'm on my back deck. There he is coaching the 76 team, and he ended up coaching quite a few teams, and just in general helping out people, coaching. And he's just a heck of a guy. I'm going to leave it off at that. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll consider subscribing, and I'm out.